Hi, welcome to this SQL tutorial video, and today we're going to look at the case statement. The SQL case statement is a way of displaying data based on conditions. It's kind of like an if statement where you say, if this piece of logic is true, show this. Otherwise, if this piece of logic is true, show this. Otherwise, show this. I'm going to show you how you write a case statement and what the syntax is like. I want to show you a couple of different options of when you're writing case statements. I want to show you rules that you've got to adhere to with regard to case statements. Basically, I'm just going to show you a few different examples and hopefully it will give you an idea of how you can use it yourself. So let us begin first of all with the SQL on screen here. So I've got a select that's returning 7 columns. Pretty basic, just showing the columns as they are. So let me imagine that here, this column here, this FT is black column that has a 0 or a 1. I don't want to show a 0 or a 1. I want to show true or false. So because my column is showing 0 or 1, I need to add some logic in order to show true or false. And that logic is going to be a case statement. So to begin writing a case statement, you begin with the word case. Then you say a piece of logic. So you say case when FT is black equals 0, then false. So your piece of logic is this when. I'm going to put it on a separate line. When this is true, then. Then we'll add another one. We can say when FT is black equals 1, then true. And then when you've finished, to complete your case statement, you've got to put end. And that's it, done. And like with any column, you can give it an alias. So I will put is black as an alias for this column. And if I run this, we should now see a new column here that shows false if that is 0 and true if that is 1. There's only ever going to be 2 options here, 0 or 1. So I could here, instead of having 2 whens, I can say case when this field equals 0, then false, and I can say else true. It'll do the same thing. Because there's only kind of 2 options, it's either going to be false or true. So it does the same thing. I don't need to put false or true. I can put anything I like. I can put ground and sky. It doesn't matter what I put here. But whatever you put here is what the output's going to be. So depending on what you actually want to show, present to the person who's seeing the results, you can put anything in here, but it makes sense to put false and true in this example. So now let's think about, I'm going to add a new column actually. So let me just get rid of that for now, and I'm going to add a new column. And this column it's not just 0 or 1, it's got any amount of numbers in here. So let us look at this column now. Let's do a case statement to change each of these so that instead of showing the numbers, we're going to show the text version of the number. So what we can say here is case when FT summon val equals 1, then 1. And then I can say when FT summon val equals 2, then 2. And so on. Equals 3, then 3. And I'll just put else more than 3. And then you've got to finish with an end. So if I run that for ones, we should see 1. For 3s, we see 3. There's a 2s. And anything greater than 3, we're getting more than 3. That's all right. But what you'll notice here as I've been typing is I've repeated ft sum and val on each line. I'm only, in this case statement, I'm only referencing ft sum and val. So what I can do here is, instead of me having to repeat it each time, and because I'm doing a comparison of this operator here that is the equals, I can write this in a slightly different way. So I can say, if I just go to a new one here, I can say case and then say my field that I'm interested in. And then I say when 1, then 1, when 2, then 2, when 3, then 3, else more end. And this will do the same thing as the case statement above. So because I am referencing the same fields, and because I'm doing an equals comparison, I can do it in this way. Put the field case, field name, when 1, when 2, when 3. Now, there are rules when you're doing these things, when you're writing these case statements, and one of the rules is that each of the outputs have got to be the same data type. So if I were to change this to be a number rather than text, I will get an error because it's seeing a var chart as some of the outputs and an integer as some of the outputs. So they've all got to be the same. So I'll put that back. Something else you can do is you can say, instead of returning a piece of text or a number or a value, you can say, if this is true, I want to return a column. So if I just, as an example, I want to get rid of this line and just have an else of ft is green. So if ft sum and val equals 1, then return is black. If ft sum and val equals 2, then return is blue. And then if else, return is green. And if I just go down here, you can see in some cases that there's the values. So the point of this thing here is to say you don't have to return a piece of text or a number. You can return other columns. But again, they've got to be the same data type. So is black, is blue, and is green are all numeric. If I were to change this last one to say name, I'll get an error because a varchar and an integer are not the same. So I get this error that I got before when I was mixing up my data types. So sticking with the sum and val, let's just get this running again. What we've been doing here is we've got equals as a comparator, but we don't need to do that. We can say if sum and val is less than 3, then, and then we'll say in a bit of text small, and then we can say is between 3 and 5, and we can say medium, and here we can say high. So the point here is that you don't have to have the same operators here. They don't all have to be equals or all have to be greater than or whatever else. You can mix them up. So I've got less than, I've got between, and I can say when ft sum and val equals 6, then so you see I've got a less than, I've got a between, I've got an equals, and if I run that, that will be fine. It's all of this thing that kind of matters, this output type. So if I go down here, there should be a 6 somewhere, I would imagine there. So it's worked. This case statement's worked with the different operators here. It's the output data type that's the important bit. And you can mix things up. So you could say if when ft type equals instant, then I'll just put it here. So if I run that, that should run fine as well. So what we're finding is, what you'll notice is the case statement checks this first condition here, and if it's true, it'll do this. It'll then check if that's not true, it'll go to the next condition, and it'll see that's true. So if we go to this instant, my ft type is instant, but my summon value is between 3 and 5, so it's put medium there because the first condition it saw was true as this. So it's got to here, it's returned medium, and then it hasn't done any more checks. So it goes through each of these in turn. So you've got to be kind of mindful of that. So at some point I should have some instance. Oh no, there probably won't be. Let me just change that to be no, I can't find an example there, but if I change that then to be then that should return here. There, so we've got the here's here. So it's gone to here. Is the sum of value less than 3? No, it's 7. Is it between 3 and 5? No, it's not. Is it 6? No, it's not. Is the creature type this? Yeah, it is. So it's gone logically through this, and it's got to this here because the first 3 conditions were false. Now that you've got, the last thing I want to show you, now that we've got this case statement, as with anything in SQL, if you can put something in your select here, you can also put that in your where clause. So let me just take this and add it to my where clause. Where? I'll just paste it in. There's my case statement. I'm just going to get rid of it here. Oh no, in fact I'll leave it there so we can see it. So what, it's got this red line here. It doesn't like it at the minute because in a where clause you've got to put a condition, and right now this case statement is just returning data. It's not doing anything logical. So what you need to say is where the result of this case statement equals, let's say, hi. And if I run this now, we're now only seeing the results of this case statement that have resulted in hi. So the summon value is not less than 3, it's not between 3 and 5, it's not 6, and the creature, the type is not this. So we've got hi, or we can change it to be here. See what that does. And there's the here or 6. So whatever you can put in your select, you can put in your where clause. I'm just trying to think of a practical example. You might use a case statement if you're looking at a table where you've got a value and then you've got whether the particular value is applicable for VAT. So you can say if VAT equals true, then add 20% to this value, otherwise just show the value. Is kind of a practical way of maybe using a case statement. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Hopefully I've been able to hopefully it's made sense. I've been able to show you something that you didn't know. Any feedback's appreciated. Thanks very much for your time. See you next time.